Hey folks, this is Riker, bringing you a Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls Demon Hunter guide to breakpoints. Now, if you're running an M6 build, and if you're not, you probably want to be, eventually, because that's the only endgame viable build, then you're going to want to know all about breakpoints. In this guide, we're going to go over three things. First, what breakpoints are. Second, why you should care. And third, how you can use your knowledge of breakpoints to maximize your damage and optimize your gear. So first off, when we're talking about breakpoints, we're specifically talking about sentries and their attack rate. Normally, for your character, your overall damage, your DPS, increases linearly with your attack speed. In other words, if you go from 1 attack per second to 2 attacks per second, you are doubling your DPS. That is a 100% increase in DPS. Likewise, if you go from 1 to 1.5, that's a 50% increase. 1 to 1.2, 20%. 1 to 1.1, 10%. 1 to 1.01, 1%. Basically, regardless of how big or small the increment is, or whether it starts at 1 or at 1.5 or 1.69, there's always going to be a corresponding and direct increase in DPS. Unfortunately, sentries don't work this way. Sentries do base themselves on your attacks per second, plus any modification from Tasker and Theo, but we don't have that one-to-one correlation. Instead of a linear increase in damage with attack speed, it's stepped. That's what we mean when we talk about breakpoints. Imagine a graph. The y-axis is your damage per second, and the x-axis is your attack speed. As attack speed is increasing, so is your damage. That's with your normal character. But with sentries, what happens is, as your attack speed is going up, your damage isn't, your DPS is not, until you hit a breakpoint. Then you jump up. Then you keep increasing your attack speed, and again, you're not getting more damage until you hit the next breakpoint. And so on and so on. What this means is that all of the attack speed increases between those two breakpoints is not helping you. Let's say, just for argument, our breakpoints are at 1, 1.5, and 2. That means that if your attack speed is 1 or 1.1 or 1.499999, it doesn't matter. Your damage is going to be the same until you hit 1.5. This most likely means that right now you are suboptimally geared. You probably have a bunch of attack speed that is putting you someplace between two breakpoints. If you're really close to that next breakpoint, then it might just take another couple attack speed to see a tremendous, or a significant rather, increase in your DPS. But this also means that you can likely drop a whole bunch of attack speed and get really close to the other breakpoint without actually losing any effective DPS. So now you want to know what the actual breakpoints are and how can you calculate how close you are to a breakpoint and how much attack speed you need to reach the next one, or how much attack speed you can afford to lose before dropping to the next one. I got you covered. Or rather, some really smart people have you covered, and I'm going to point you to their resources. The first resource I'm going to point you to is the website diablo.merkware.com. You can find the link to that in the description. From there, you're going to click on your region, enter your battle tag, submit. This will automatically detect the demon hunters on your account, so click on the right one. And while this is a smart website, it doesn't know how many Paragon points you've allotted to increase attack speed. So put that number in, hit submit, and the website then does some math. As you can see, the site will account for Tasker and Theo, which increases your sentry attack speed. And it tells you what your calculated sentry attacks per second is. As you can see, mine is 2.07 about. And then we see the breakpoints. These breakpoints are the same for everyone, so what you're seeing for me will apply for you as well. So what this site is saying is that because I have 2.07, I'm at breakpoint 4, which is at 1.74, and the next breakpoint, breakpoint 5, is at 2.16. So I'm getting pretty close to that next breakpoint, but I basically have a lot of wasted attack speed right now. Now, what exactly does moving from breakpoint 4 to breakpoint 5 represent? For that, I'll point you to another resource. In fact, I think I said 2, we're gonna go with 3 resources. The next resource is just an image, and again, you can find the link in the description below. But this image shows every possible 3 hatred spender setup with sentries. And what they did was calculate how many of each type of shot is fired in 30 seconds at each of the 7 breakpoints. In my case, I'm using cluster arrow, multi-shot, and elemental arrow, so CA, MS, and EA. And again, I was at breakpoint 4, which means we're firing off 12 cluster arrows in 30 seconds, 24 multi-shots, and 24 elemental arrows. If we hit breakpoint 5, we're gonna get 1 additional cluster arrow, no additional multi-shots, and 13 additional elemental arrows. So is it worth moving from breakpoint 4 to breakpoint 5? That's debatable. Going from 5 to 6 though, getting those 5 additional multi-shots, I feel that will be pretty significant. Again, that's a matter of debate. The third and final resource is the lazy breakpoint calculator. Again, you can find the link to that in the description. Now the first thing you want to do is click File and save a copy of this for yourself so that you can edit the sheet. And what this will do will tell you how much attack speed you need to reach the next breakpoint, or how much you can lose before falling into the previous one. All you have to do is plug in some numbers. And where do you get these numbers? From that first resource. So APS on your weapon. You can find that number right on the other resource. Your Tasker and Theo buff. Kadala hates me, I don't have any yet. Attack speed increase, again, you can find that in the other resource. So this also spits out your total attack speed per second. And what this is telling me right here is that I need a little over 6.2 additional attack speed in order to hit the next breakpoint, and I can lose up to 21 attack speed without losing any sentry DPS. To show you this at work, we know that just 6% additional attack speed won't get me to the next breakpoint, so let's put in exactly 6. Let's go from 38 to 44. As you can see, I'm now only a little over 0.2 away from the next breakpoint. Let's make that a 45, and we've hit the next breakpoint. So that's really all there is to it. Breakpoints aren't as scary or complicated as they may initially seem. If you don't want to have to deal with the hassle, then don't. But if you do want to be perfectly optimized, if you want to make sure you're not wasting any attack speed, then use these resources and crank up that sentry damage. That wraps up this guide. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment letting me know what breakpoint you've attained, and whether you want to be going up or down. Check out these other videos that are about to appear on screen in a moment. And until next time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Please, you filth!